to preview the men's soccer Olympic gold medal match between France and Spain. We've talked about the Olympic Games now for the last couple weeks, and it all comes down to this tomorrow, the men's Olympic game final, going on between the perceived, the host, the favorites entering this tournament versus, a team in Spain that are trying to complete a dominant summer of winning the European Championship and Olympic Games, and they'll be doing this on the road, in the Parc des Princes, Parc de France, in a way sort of atmosphere. In France, they've had to dig deep to get where they are today. They had that very, very fiery rivalry, aggressive fights, everything that could have happened on a football pitch, sort of quarterfinal win over Argentina. And then they had that, late game heroics against Egypt in extra time to scrape by them to reach where they are today. Spain, they were able to defeat the Japanese relatively easily in terms of 3-0 outcome. Then they had to have some late game heroics as well to get past Morocco. But a Morocco team that's been brilliant this tournament and that went on to win their next game, the bronze medal game, 6-0. So it kind of raises in my opinion, the performance of that Spain Morocco game. So they're both here. They both reached the finals. They both have had interesting journeys. Spain, they actually did not win their group. In the group stages, they actually lost their final game to Egypt, which ended up costing them the group. But they were able to still defeat the group winners the Japanese, while Spain was able to get past Morocco. And then what's going on with France, they had a comfortable group stages, 3-3, and then they were tested. They were really, really testing their quarterfinal, semifinal games, but they're able to rise back. I gotta say, the pressure that's on these French players is huge. It'll be an embarrassment if you don't win these Olympic Games. Playing these Olympic Games at home, and also with the fact that, you're coached by Thierry Henry, you have, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Lacazette, Michael Olise, you got players like Ryan Cherki that's on the bench, Loic Bade, another very good overage player holding it down in the center half position. You have this team, you have this coach that's really under huge pressure because he's looking at this Olympic Games as a springboard to revamp his his managerial career that's been very, very mediocre up to this point. When you look at what he's been able to do at Montreal, Monaco, and all that, has been very poor, and he wants to sort of trampoline himself back into a decent managerial job after this. I assume he doesn't want to stay with the French youth setup. I don't expect him to want to do that. And he's reached the final. I don't think any of that has to do with him, quite frankly. I think they just happen to have a really, really talented, very good talented team. I don't think tactically they really look that dominant. I don't think they have a very particularly good style of play. I don't think they do have a style of play. I just think they play to the quality of the players. And I think Thierry Henry is going on for a very great ride. Because it's not like they're dominating these games as well. With the quality that they have, they should be dominating the likes of Egypt. Look what Morocco was able to do against Egypt, And don't bring up Egypt going up against Spain. That was a Spain second team in that group stages. Look at what Morocco was able to do against Egypt compared to what France, France going on against Argentina, they could have, that game really should have went to extra time. I forgot who it was, but had a great opportunity in the back post. Morocco, they dominated Argentina in aspects of the game. And Argentina looked poor in that group stages. Look, I think France can find themselves in trouble. I think this is the best team that they'll face at these Olympic Games, and this is a team in Spain that can take the possession away from them, and that can make France sit in and France play push France back and make France a counter attacking team, which I don't think that suits to the style, to the nature of the players that they have. Because if you want to play counterattacking, you gotta be clinical. And Lacazette and Jan-Willem Mateta, they haven't been clinical. That's the one thing. France have had a lot of chances these Olympic Games, and they have not been clinical enough. They missed so many chances down the stretch against Egypt to equalize the game before Jan-Willem Mateta eventually equalized. Against Argentina, they had so many, opportunities to get that second goal. They weren't able to do so. I don't think it'll play if it. I don't think it. I don't think it's the best approach for them, and I don't think they'll have that choice because I think Spain has the ability to control possession. They'll be able to dominate possession. And the France, they're gonna need to play. The crowd is gonna have to be the 12th man. The big time players need to show up. The Lacazette, the Michael Olises, the Jean-Philippe Mateta, they have to be clinical. Lacazette, if he performs the way he did against Egypt in terms of his in terms of not being able to get the ball in the back of the net despite a great number of opportunities, they will lose the gold medal game, and it will go down as one of the most embarrassing moments in men's Olympic soccer history, because this tournament is literally written for France. This men's Olympic gold medal is literally written for France. And it's not only going to be embarrassing for the French men's Olympic soccer team, but it'll also be embarrassing for Thierry Henry in terms of not being able to lead this France team to the Olympic gold medal final. So I think the pressure is hugely on France, which, yes, it makes them deadly because of the fact that they are the home team. And that's what generates a lot of the pressure, or most of the pressure, the fact that they are the home team. So that makes them deadly at the same time because they are the home team. But it also, makes it difficult in the fact that, the longer it stays 0-0, the later it goes into the game, the more pressure that goes up. It takes one mental gaps, one error, and you could lose the gold medal game. I think Spain is going to win the game. I think Spain, they're going to spoil the party. I think they're going to control possession. I think Fermin Lopez will get on the end of a few opportunities. I think defensively, Spain have been very, very solid. They haven't conceded much clear-cut opportunities, let alone conceded in general. They've been very, good defensively throughout this entire tournament, besides when they essentially played that second team against Egypt. I believe they've conceded, I think, one goal. Besides that, or two goals because they conceded that goal against Morocco. Haven't conceded much defensively. I think Kobarasi and Eric Garcia have been very, very solid in the back. Obviously, I've talked about Fermin Lopez, what he's been able to do throughout this entire tournament. They've been clinical with the opportunities that they've gotten, and I think they can control the ball against France. I think that's what makes them deadly. Their ability to be able to control the ball. And I don't think France will be able to create enough clear-cut opportunities against the Spanish defense. But there's a chance. There's gonna be. It's gonna be great to watch. Spain, they're gonna try to right their wrong from the last Olympic gold medal game that they played, which happened to be in the Tokyo Olympics. You remember in the Tokyo Olympics, they took a really strong team. They took a lot of players that were involved in the European Championship a few weeks earlier. They took Pedri, they took Dani Olmo, they took Mikel Oyarzabal. They had Mikel Merino as an overage player. They took Eric Garcia, who was also part of that European Championship team. I believe Unai Simon was also involved of that Spain's Olympic soccer team. They took a really, really, really strong team to the Olympic Games, and they still lost to Brazil in that gold medal match. Now they go with a different approach. They don't take their best, because if they went with the approach that they had that last Olympic Games in 2021, this Spanish team would be deadly in the fact that they'd have Nico Williams, they'd have Lamine Yamal, they'd have they'd have Pedri again. Well, no, they wouldn't because he was injured. But they could build a really really strong team. But they've decided to go with a little bit different approach. They were criticized a lot for running their players to the ground over the past few years or so. So they've gone with a different approach, but they're still back, and I think they'll win these Olympic Games 2-1.